Hello and welcome to another bumper-filled episode of the EUC Show, and we kick off with this. Extreme Bull, the naughty relative of the Bigode family, the Prince Harry if you like, have released some more information about the soon-to-be available Extreme Bull Commander Pro. And here it is. A few cosmetic upgrades from the standard Commander, the same battery capacity, a shift to the new Samsung 50E batteries, but the addition of dual piston suspension and some ramped up voltage, giving the Pro a higher speed potential. Having ridden the Commander for 100 miles at around about 45 miles per hour, honestly, you really don't need to go any faster, but the addition of suspension to give you a smoother ride, particularly on long journeys, is a good idea and should prevent us needing to have expensive chiropractor bills in our old age. You could argue that there is sufficient existing choice of suspension EUCs on the market for them not to have bothered with this upgrade, but it does seem that this could be a direct reaction to the release of the Sherman S, as both have similar specs, similar suspension, but with the Commander just edging it in terms of voltage and a few other whistles and bells. Now it's time for Riders and Sliders. Here's where I show you some footage of people showing off their skills or getting senselessly hurt. And I'm going to start with a scooter rider demonstrating what I can only describe as natural selection in real time, with what is clearly an attempt to eliminate a breed of stupid people from the gene pool. This clip made the news in Queensland, Australia, where riding PEVs is legal in cycle lanes and designated paths. This chap loses balance at warp speed and times it so badly that he smashes into a sign that could easily have cut him into two equal parts before leaving him in a heap on the floor. Members of the public dash to the scene of the accident, then just seem to stand around staring at him on the ground like a handbag at a disco, presumably having just rushed over to tell him he was being a dick. Next up we have a group ride out with the chap in front clearly doing some charity work by arranging a PEV ride out for the visually impaired. The lead rider knows what he's doing, and I bet he grew up watching Roadrunner cartoons because he led his crew into a perfect ambush. That barrier did not give up much of a fight though, and I am a bit disappointed that we didn't see that rider suspended on the bar by his beer belly while his wheel went on without him for a bit. This next rider does something I've never seen before. He gets blown over by the wind. He's riding along perfectly happy in the shelter of a nice tall building until he hits an intersection and then hits the concrete. He tries to compensate for the wind by leaning the wheel as if he's trying to get his knee down, but he can't hold it and he crumples like a collapsing house of cards. None of the other riders seem to be struggling with the conditions, however, leaving me to conclude that he either needs to eat a few more pies and put a bit of weight on, or ride around with a couple of bricks in his pockets. Lightweight. And finally, there's a lot going on in this clip, so let me talk you through it. Here's a chap so chuffed with his EUC that he throws a drone up to film himself cruising along, and I, for one, am glad he did. I'm just going to skip over the bit about not wearing a crash helmet and let that one hang out there for people to comment on. But he gets a case of the dreaded wobbles, so badly that he falls off backwards as if he's been shot by a sniper. He hits the ground so hard that his bobble hat disappears from his head like a David Blaine trick. His V10F is released like a cruise missile towards a lamppost before parallel parking between two cars. Then the bloke gets up with his arse in tatters and waves to an imaginary crowd just like Tiger Woods approaching the 18th green at Augusta. And here's the part of the show where I trawl through social media, bringing you the best and often the worst of what it has to offer. First up, I spotted this bloke who has made a crash helmet from what appears to be the top of a gas cylinder. Genius. Imagine if he was in a crash like this bloke on the scooter, or this chap at the barrier, but managed to get his head taken clean off. How confused would the paramedics be? It reminds me a bit of the story about the man who wondered what would happen if he drank 2 litres of cola and then ate 20 Mentos. He died instantly, and they found his head 3/4 of a mile away. Speaking of legends, I found a tweet made by Dima Kubrak in Poland of a chap giving some EUC lessons. He's 75 years old and he rides a Kingston like a pro. His advice apparently is to just let go and allow your body to flow with the wheel, saying that the connection between the wheel and rider is like no other type of transport, which is great. because I'm pretty sure if I tell myself to let my body go with the flow at that age, I will probably just wet the bed. Inspirational. Over in the US, and this advert is being aired from an insurance company saying that the money a couple saved by switching their cover allowed them to afford to get into riding EUCs. They must have saved a hell of a lot. I bet they won't be affording to ride the Commander Pro by switching insurance policies. But it is good to see EUCs getting a bit of airtime on mainstream platforms, even if it is for comedic effect. And finally, no bikini girl this week. Or is there? I spotted this on social media, a group of PAV riders in Australia. Again, Australia seems to be just insane. I seriously have no idea what is going on here, and I am not sure I want to know, to be honest, but let me just replay this bit for you several times to see if you laugh as much as I did. And now it's time for Readers' Lives. This is the point where I read out some of the comments I've received on my recent videos. First up on Readers' Lives, I want to share a comment from Stephen Foster on the last episode when I encouraged people to get actively involved and to stand up and shout if they saw a glimpse of Bikini Girl. Stephen took it to heart, and now his wife is getting grumpy with the both of us because he jumped off the couch and shouted. She needs to get a grip and have a word with herself, seriously. And finally, here is a brand new feature for the show, something I call www. Who, where, what and why. This is the part of the show where I feature one of the viewers of the show who is doing something extraordinary. And to show you what I mean, here is an Italian rider. His name is Marco and he's currently undertaking an epic ride of northern Italy. In fact, let's hear what he has to say about it.
Hello riders and friends of the EUC Show. My name is Marco, or Rolling Monte. I'm a passionate rider from North Italy. Basically, I was mad enough to start touring Italy in the worst but most beautiful period of the year, winter time. As a matter of fact, I'd like to be the first rider to cross Italy from east to west. If this wasn't enough, I will add that I'm touring Italy on my little but stubborn Kingston 16X, riding from 80 to 110 kilometers per day with my 70 liters Sienna backpack. Hopefully in summertime I'd like to cross the whole Italy, so cross fingers for me, please. So if you're willing to join me in this ride, just hit me up. Or otherwise, if you just want to watch my adventure, feel free to check it on my Instagram profile at Rolling Monte, and soon on YouTube too. So see you guys, and in the meantime, keep rolling! Ciao guys!
If you want to tell me who you are, where you're riding, what motivates you, and if it impresses the hell out of me, you can make it onto the show. Contact me either through the comments below or reach out to me on Instagram, and let's get started showing off what you're up to. Well, that's it. Thank you for watching. Please get involved by sharing your stories. Tell me what's going on in your part of the world and why you're still watching. You should be whacking the like button, furiously typing your compliments and forwarding this show to everyone in your contents list. What are you waiting for? Get on with it. Love you. Bye.